So in a nutshell, what I was saying in that statement, if you can't be bothered to read it, is I've had a fantastic run, 27 years in the sport, 16 years as a professional, 32 fights, but it's time to call it a day. It's time to throw in the towel. It's time to hang up the gloves and retire as a professional boxer. So as of the 12th of June 2018, I am no longer a professional boxer, something I've been since the age of 10. It's a strange thought, but it's a thought I'm very comfortable with as I've reviewed my life and my physicality, and it's not what it needs to be.
And the main thing we cannot forget is I am the unified heavyweight champion.
You predicted BJ was going to beat me, didn't you? You predicted he's going to beat me. He got smashed.
All these years, the UK fighters had to go to America. Everyone had to spend a heap of money to go to Vegas. We can do it in London, around Wembley, Cardiff. It's local. We're staying right here. Wanda, let's go, baby! Let's go!
I smashed your body, your playmate, your playboy, your nightclub buddy, and I will smash you the exact same way.
Dylan White, Derek Chisora, Big Baby Miller, Joe Joyce, you can all have it, Dominic Brazil, whoever else is in America too, all have it!
Are you off your tits? Have you been stroking something?
Let people rabbit on. That's why God gave you one mouth and two ears. Do more listening than talking. Rather talk sort of shit.
Get him in the ring and I'll knock him spark out. Thank you very much.
All you gotta do is set the date. Don't wait, mate.
Yes. What is up, TBV family? It's good to be back for our weekly edition of the UK Hour with Rob and Matt. It hasn't been the most, star-studded week for news for the UK, but like I said, every week we're going to be here 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific, and 10 p.m. in the UK every week. So hit that like button, hit subscribe button, and remember, you can always go to patreon.com/Thaboxingvoice, and there is an absolutely free public post there where we can guarantee that your question and your topic is discussed on the show when we go to our Patreon segment. But Mr. Robbie Hearn, how are you, man?
Yeah, good. Like you say, maybe a little bit slow on UK news. I was hoping we might have heard something from Eddie today, and we might have got a little bit of Wilder's got the contract. It's up down to him now to sign it or something, along those lines. Typical, Eddie, fast talking Eddie. But a little slow. We've obviously had a few announcements for the White Parker card. Drawing a little bit of hate. A lot of people saying, is this pay-per-view? Is this really pay-per-view? But I believe there's still a high-level world title fight to be added and a heavyweight clash, which I believe will probably be Chisora and Takam. But
I like that. I like that fight.
Yeah, it's not a bad fight. Might be a long 12-rounder, but see how it goes. But and obviously we've got the Josh Kelly card this weekend, so we can bring up that. And I think Joe Joyce is fighting on Friday as well. Obviously he's been calling out many other heavyweights, but see where you want to start off with it, Matt.
Well, I want to circle back to AJ Wilder, because I still think that's the biggest topic of not only the UK but like the boxing world. And like you weren't on that breaking news show, and I feel like I want to give you more of a platform to speak on it. I think you missed even the morning show with the Nest. I know you called in, but you missed it. You weren't on, so I wanted to give you more of a platform to talk about it, give more from a UK angle, because we still haven't heard anything back from Eddie, and I know there's a portion of the fan base that is gonna automatically criticize Eddie and assume that this more Povetkin. This is more room for Povetkin to come in. But I still am under the impression that this is probably going to happen. That they're just crossing the I's or crossing the T's, dotting the I's, and we're about to get a mega fight in October for Wembley, because Wembley is what Joshua wants. Wembley makes the most sense. And now, obviously, with breaking news happening literally right before we went on air, that Canelo Triple G, within the span of 5 hours, went from it's on, it's not on, it's on, it's not on, to it's on now. Officially, it's on, apparently. So September's taken. I think we're getting in October. I just want to get your thoughts on the offer, the negotiation, the alleged flat fee, no percentage split for the matchup, etc.
Yeah, I think I know if I try to say this, and Nez was in the panel as well, it probably draw a bit of hate, but I kind of go along with the fact that British boxing is just in a really good place right now, and AJ's been the pinnacle of that. And yes, he's unified, and he's done it in quite a few number of fights, and he's reached his point. And to deliver every single big fight usually is over there in Vegas. British fans have either got to travel or stay up till 4 a.m. And to be the big money guy in the heavyweight division, maybe even in boxing, maybe up there with Canelo. I think the British fans and British boxing deserves, maybe if it's a 2-fight deal, but the first crack at this undisputed heavyweight championship, and ideally Wembley. But Eddie's brought up the fact that Canelo has got the pay-per-view in September, and I don't know whether that's based around expecting the consumers to pay for 2 pay-per-views, or whether it's, I'm not sure. To me, when he said that, I thought, oh, so is this actually pay-per-view in America, even though it's in the UK? I don't know how well it would sell there at 5 p.m. or whether I don't know whether we can push this fight back a little bit later on in the UK. So it's
possible.
Maybe, I don't know. But then I don't know how it runs with local councils with, sound and,
etc.
All kinds of bullshit like that. So I don't know if that is actually possible. But yeah, I think we're looking at sort of October, November. And I truly hope that Povetkin can be just put to the side, and this can be the next fight. As much as I want to see AJ as soon as possible fighting again, I want it to be Wilder. And if that's not September, then I'm happy to wait another couple of months for it. But it just takes away AJ's desire to fight in Wembley, I think, because that, although it has a semi, like a kind of a roof, but it doesn't fully close. It doesn't cover the football pitch. It just kind of covers the people in the crowd. It can extend slightly, whereas Cardiff completely covers the arena fully, the stadium fully.
And when you're going into October, November for a fight date in the UK, I mean, it's the UK. You got to worry about the rain. I'll say this. I didn't really think about the angle of it still being pay-per-view in the U.S. Because the only modern era pay-per-view that's been overseas in boxing that I can think of has been Pacquiao and Brandon Rios, which was in Macau, China. That was still pay-per-view, HBO pay-per-view. That's the only one I can think of. It's rare. It's highly rare if that's the only one there is, really. It wouldn't be shocking. It wouldn't be absurd. But I'm definitely not going to do the same amount of numbers. But if they're thinking, let's maximize the most amount of money, and also if you're giving Deontay Wilder a flat fee, why not try to do pay-per-view in the U.S.? Because you're going to get more of the lion's share of that split, so to speak, because you're not really giving him a split. He's taking a flat fee. And you're probably going to give him the money just from the UK revenue. The UK buy rate for this is going to be through the roof. Like AJ, I've said on the show, I think AJ is probably the biggest boxing star the UK has ever seen, just from pure numbers, from pure metrics. He is the biggest thing. So the likelihood of this doing 2 million pay-per-view buys in the UK, I don't think it's far-fetched. I know some UK callers and listeners have told me I'm absurd for thinking that, but I don't think that's absurd.
I don't think 2 million's out of the question.
He did 1.5 with Klitschko. I think this is a much bigger fight.
And Eddie Hearn revealed the other day that AJ Parker did well over $1 million, and that it was close to getting the record. So that suggests to me it beat Klitschko's numbers, because I think the UK record pay-per-view is still Mayweather McGregor when we had that as pay-per-view here. I think
you mean Mayweather? You mean Mayweather Hatton?
No. Mayweather McGregor was pay-per-view here.
I don't know. I thought AJ Klitschko had the record. That was like 1.5 allegedly.
Yeah, but then we had. I thought.
I didn't hear that Mayweather McGregor beat that in the UK. I didn't hear that.
I believe it did, but
Oh, wow.
someone in the chat can tell us maybe, or hassle me on Twitter or something about it. But anyway, yeah. So AJ Parker done excellent numbers. I wish we'd get like you guys get the Nielsen ratings and things like that come out. It'd be really interesting to know, even just a normal non-pay-per-view, just to find out, just where the boxing community, how who's watching, how many's watching. It would be quite interesting, but we don't really seem to get that. But
Nielsen doesn't do pay-per-views, just for people listening, just for factual sake. Nielsen only does TV ratings. Pay-per-view numbers are all rumored, basically. It's reporters have good sources in the U.S. That's basically it. And it's only a handful of guys that you can really trust when it comes to pay-per-view numbers in the U.S. when it comes to combat sports, and it's like the Dave Meltzers, the Kevin Iolis, the Lance Pugmires, the Dan Rayfields, and that's about it.
Yeah, but yeah, obviously the morning show Nez done was touched on the fact that Eddie had seen what Wilder had said on it, and that the contract would be sent this week. So I was hoping we would, get a UK hour exclusive, and we could drop get a massive show going. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. I'm sure things will start panning out near the end of the week, and maybe the beginning of next week. Hopefully we'll get some kind of announcement, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, lawyers are probably, scoping through the contract, both sides, making sure everything's right, all the disagreements are getting ironed out, all the little tiny shit. I think we're getting the fight announced, I don't know, this week, but maybe into the weekend, maybe. I can see that. I can see maybe even a Monday announcement.
Yeah, maybe. Well, hopefully, fingers crossed. But yeah, it looks like we're getting it. And obviously, it's so hard to keep up with the Canelo rumors, but obviously we look like we're getting that one, but obviously not UK subject, so let's brush past that one. But good. Looks like 2018 could be a real good year.
Yeah, I mean, I think I said it on the Sunday show or not the Sunday show, maybe like a show or two ago. We went from 2 weeks ago thinking that we're gonna get 0 super fights this year to now looks like both of them are back on. Hopefully that does happen. It would definitely make 2018 a year to remember or not to remember based off of these 2 fights, in my opinion. But moving on to a little topic, I don't think we need to touch on it that much. I just see it all over the internet. It's Tyson Fury. The idea that Tyson Fury is ducking Luis Ortiz. I love that topic. I love the fans out there that think that. Tell me why Tyson Fury isn't ducking Luis Ortiz, Rob.
Why he isn't?
Oh, you think he is?
No. I just think he, despite every Instagram post, every IG live, or on his story, that he can beat AJ with one hand tied behind his back, and Wilder's a bum. Big Baby Miller, you heard it in the intro for UK Hour. You can all have it. You can all have it. But I think, despite all the bravado, he knows where he's at the moment. And Frank Warren definitely won't let him go near Luis Ortiz right now. He's just made this big sign-in. He wants 3 or 4 fights before he steps in with anyone. But even though he thinks Tony Bellew could be one of those 3 or 4. But Tyson just doesn't need Luis Ortiz problems at the moment. Although I still think right now it would be a reasonable fight. I think Tyson, could.
It's a tough fight. It's a tough fight, but I mean, could Tyson win it? Yeah. I mean, Tyson's
think so.
Good.
I think he's got to get a good camp in and still shed some weight and get closer to the Tyson Fury before he kind of left us for 2 years. But although the Safiri fight was kind of a pantomime, and but he's back, shaking off a little rust or whatever. It wasn't any kind of a test really, but it just got him back in front of the crowd, back in under the lights, making the ring entrance. I
agree. I think Tyson Fury should be. He deserves a long road back to the top. I think when you deal with those sort of demons and have that long of a layoff and gain that much weight, I mean, just look. The way his voice has changed is a personification of how much Tyson Fury has, quote unquote, aged in these 2 years from his own abuse. And I think taking, like he said, 3 or 4 fights. I think that's what Frank Warren said. That's what he said. I I'm okay with that. But I completely understand the fans that think, oh, well, he's talking all that shit. He should be fighting these guys. Those fans that really can't process, complex thoughts. Those fans. I understand them. I get their point. They're not thinking logically. That's okay. Because if that's your guy, if that's your friend, if that's your fighter, if you're a promoter, you want him to take the long road back. You want him to shed the weight before he goes and fights fucking Anthony Joshua, Deontay Wilder, Luis Ortiz, Joseph Parker, Dylan White. Those are tough guys. Those are tough fights for Tyson Fury. Even when he is in shape and, 100% back. Those are still going to be tough fights for him. So, yeah, take another tune-up. Take another Derek Chisora. Fuck it. Do it again. I don't care. Go after a Takam that's short and small that you can just circle around. Go after those names, and then go after a Tony Bellew for the money, and then go after the winner of Joshua Wilder after they have a trilogy. Go for it. I'm okay with that, Tyson.
Yeah, I think as long as we see a little progression in opposition, like a little step up each time, I don't think the public are going to be too pleased with another Safiri.
No.
A Hungarian third best
he needs
light
to be
heavyweight
known.
or something.
He needs to be known in some shape or fashion, like even like a Hammer, like a Christian Hammer, like even like that could work.
Yeah.
Or like an Elanius. Like I'm kind of okay with that. Maybe like Emmanuel Char. Like those fights are respectable. I want to use that word. Somebody throwing out Tyson Fury versus Shannon Briggs. Yeah, I mean, I would watch that. I think Shannon Briggs is kind of a joke in 2018, but I mean, what else are we going to get? At least that one's going to be entertaining till we get the fight. At least Tyson Fury's not going to be kissing him. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, but yeah, he's back. Hopefully, all fine mentally and in a good place. He really seems it, and long may it continue. But yeah, Luis Ortiz, I think you might have to wait a little while, find yourself somebody else to get in a fight with. But yeah.
We're going to talk about your favorite fighter, or one of your favorite fighters, and why he's taking it such a soft touch in Brandon Cook. Kell Brook versus Brandon Cook. That is one of the most disappointing fight announcements I have ever heard in my life.
Yeah, I mean, when the stuff for him and Jared Hurd came out, you're like, I said, dare to be great and everything. People were like, no, he needs another tune-up, just another fight at 154. And now another tune-up at 154 has been announced. He's getting hella grief for it. It was there somewhere, but this guy's like number 9 in the IBF, and he's number 5 in the something else, and he's ranked. So it's, I don't know.
You know who Kanat Islam is? Have you heard about him?
Yes.
Okay. Have you watched that fight with Brandon Cook?
I saw the knockdowns.
But the knockout, yeah.
Yeah.
Kanat Islam is a true prospect, and like, no, not as a prospect. He's sort of like a fringe contender. Brandon Cook did not look good in that fight. I think Brandon Cook is kind of basic in what he does. I think it's a good right hook. Kind of aggressive, kind of in your face. But I think Kell Brook is probably the taller guy, probably the better boxer. I think he's going to piece him up and knock him out within 6 rounds. I mean, not that I understand your point about like, oh, like everyone wanted him to take a tune-up in terms of like the reasonable people like me and Ness. Like we don't want him to face Jared Hurd. Like that made no sense from a promoting standpoint, from a managerial standpoint. I understand your point. But like the point I made with Tyson Fury, fight somebody that is at least known. There are names that are known, maybe. Like a Willie Nelson in the division would make a little bit more sense. Maybe an Ishe Smith in the division. Like names that are gatekeepers, journeymen that are known in that division, I think.
Tony Harrison or something like that.
Tony Harrison would be a little bit too much right now, in my opinion. That's like another fight from now. Because again, I think just like with Tyson Fury, Kell Brook deserves the long road back to the top. He deserves that comeback trail. I think he has earned it with what he was put through with Triple G and Earl Spence. So I'm okay with that. But I don't want a guy that I only know from being knocked out from somebody that I barely know as well. You know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't make sense. Unlike, let's say, a Josh Kelly, who we're going to talk about coming next, fighting Chris George. Chris George, at least, I believe, is undefeated. He looks really good, has a really mean uppercut. Like, that's somebody that's completely unknown, but maybe he's a Jeff Horn of Australia. You never know down there, down under. But yeah, just bouncing back to your thoughts.
Yeah, no, I just think with the Kell Brook, you're saying about the long road back. I just don't think he wants a long road. I think he's even mentioned that there's not a lot left. And I know the Khan fight's always being floated around, but I'm still dubious that we ever see that fight.
Yeah, we're never gonna get it.
Khan he said after his fight with Le Greco after 20 seconds that Kell Brook, it would have to be at 147. Cal's obviously moved on from 147, struggled to make weight allegedly at the last few fights, and it was a struggle. And now a lot more comfortable at 154. Whether they can do a catch weight, but can't, like I say, Khan said this happens at 147, so he wants to suck him down. I don't know. So I'm dubious that we even see that fight. So I personally think there might be something in the Hurd fight, and then depending how that goes, we might see Kell Brook calling it a day, maybe. But so yeah, as far as a long road back, I don't see that he wants to take a long road back. And as we know, he's confident in his abilities. Whether that's always proved to be fruitful, clearly not. But he wanted to defend against Spence, and we've now since then realised just what Spence is. Obviously, Triple G, we all know, jumped up. Was it 2 weight divisions to fight Triple G? Brook's obviously confident, and he's got no fear stepping in with these guys. So Jared Hurd, yes, he's a solid guy, and he takes a lot of shots just to walk his man down and come. But I don't think that bothers Brook. So this long road back, I don't see that's what's interesting Kell Brook at the moment.
Then you shouldn't be fighting a Brandon Cook. You should be fighting a Sam Eggington.
Well, this is a title eliminator. So
for what? For which one?
I'm not entirely sure. It just says world title eliminator on the Matchroom.
Let me check. I'm on BoxRec. I can check really fast.
Oh yeah.
It doesn't say anything here about a vacant. Could be regional. Could be a domestic, sort of like Commonwealth belt, maybe. I don't know.
It's a world title eliminator on the on Matchroom's IG post.
I understand that, but in terms of BoxRec, they're not saying anything about it being for an eliminator or anything like that. But I'll try to find something on it in the meantime.
Yeah.
But again, I think it's like a Sam Eggington would make more sense. Like you want a fight that's gonna if you don't want the long road back, you want money fights. You want fights that could present you some entertaining matchups. Sam Eggington's a great domestic matchup. He's known there, even though he had a loss recently. I don't think anyone would care. He's more known than Brandon Cook, right? I mean, clearly.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I think that
was the gift that went out as soon as it was announced. It was the Conor McGregor. Who the fuck is that guy?
Mm-hmm.
As soon, everyone said it. Everyone, the whole Twitter was like, "Who the fuck is this guy?" And then there's footage of him getting knocked out by an ice bucket or something that gets thrown in the ring, and it's Brandon Cook on the head, and it's lights out. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is, and because of the name, people are like, this isn't pay-per-view. This is what the fuck. Eddie's done it again. And this is the reason, like a lot of the reasons why you hear Eddie Hearn getting booed when he steps in the ring for post-fight interviews or whatever. So, but like I say, apparently there's another high-level world title fight going to be on the card. I've not seen what maybe that's going to be just yet, and I believe it's going to be maybe Chisora and Takam on the card. But we've got Katie Taylor taking on a mandatory. We've got the Conor Benn rematch.
Such a pointless rematch.
With Payno. But I don't know. This has been like a little, almost like a...
It's like it's Carson Jones. Like, you don't need to give a guy a pointless rematch for nothing. Like, just move on. You're good. Like, you're the star. You're the guy that's getting pushed in the industry. And I don't even remember the guy's name that he fought. I remember the fight. It was a great fucking fight. I think I did a standing 8 count a little bit on it a while ago, I think. Great.
That was in our when we done the prospects.
That's right. And I played like highlights of it. Anyways, an amazing fight, but why? Like, why run this back? He's fighting fucking like Pendragon or King Arthur motherfucker. Like, he's fighting some guy that has a hard name that no one's heard of before. Like, move on, Conor Benn, you're good.
Do you mean Cedric Paynold?
Yeah, Pendragon, same shit.
But like I said, the first fight with them was absolute fire, 6-rounder. It was absolutely crazy. So this is a 10-rounder. I believe there's going to be some kind of title on the line.
Yo, that's risky for Conor, man. Hopefully he comes in there. Hopefully he comes in there and just wipes him out. He learned from it. He makes the adjustments and proves that he's a level above. Because that was a tough 6-rounder. And you add 4 other rounds on top of that.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully he can box a little cleverer this time. And I really hope, if he's listening, just take your time a little. You don't have to try and get your guy out of there and stand in the wheelhouse from the bow. Just please, get behind a jab, work the body. Because I think when he came over to America and fought on the HBO card, I think on the Jacobs card, Jacobs Arias, I think he was on that.
Yes.
I don't think it was televised for you guys, but we caught it on the. He boxed really well and took out. I think it was a Mexican guy. But took him out in style, like patient. I thought, we're seeing a progression, and then we got this fight. He came back from America, got into this fight. And he just went toe to toe with this guy. I mean, he looks like a hard hitter. He knocked Conor Benn down twice. And then he had to really catch up on the scorecards. The guy got given a bad card. I mean, a lot of people saw a draw, or if anyone won it, Conor Benn probably did enough to shade it. But the cards were wide against this poor guy that put up a real good show for the crowd. And, I think Conor Benn almost feels like he has to give this guy a rematch. He sort of wanted it to sort of get this little tarnished blemish, maybe the question mark about this fight put to bed. But like you say, maybe risky, but I'll back Conor Benn to come in, make the improvements, and because he's heavy-handed, he's
he should be the favorite. He should be the favorite, but just
I think so.
Like this early in your career, like you can move on from tough fights. Like you don't have to rematch them. Like from a promotional standpoint, it's very easy when you have a guy like Conor Benn to just make the public forget.
Yeah. Yeah, but also just for that card announced was Buatsi versus Ricky Summers.
I don't know who Ricky Summers is. I think I've heard the name. I don't know who he is. But
yeah, it's a decent matchup. It's a nice sort of step up for Buatsi. I mean, Anthony Yard was offered the fight, and I think at this time he's declined it. And now I believe Anthony Yard has got a fight against Joshua Buatsi's third opponent in his career. So. I don't know whether Anthony Yard doesn't want that smoke right now, or
you're taking shots.
Yeah, just a little gun, just a little one.
Any of you radio personalities think you want smoke? Call me Mr. Chimney. I want smoke.
It's okay. I mean, Buatsi, I think is he's the hardcore darling. Anthony Yard's the casual darling. It is what it is. They're gonna fight eventually. I'm glad Buatsi is, fighting as often as he is, because that guy is a fucking amazing talent. Can't wait to see what he does later on in his career. Moving on to Josh Kelly in his fight against Chris George this weekend, right? It's this weekend.
Yes.
Is he main eventing?
He is. Well, I think he's top of the bill with Lewis Ritson. They're both from the same area. This is up in Newcastle. Josh Kelly, I think, it's more Sunderland, which is nearby, and then Lewis Ritson's from Newcastle. But super excited to see both of these guys. I mean, a lot more people know of Kelly. Very slick. We've talked about him a few times now on the show. It's half the reason that TBV took a little.
He is all the reason.
Well, yeah,
it's all Josh Kelly's fault. No, I'm just kidding.
But but I urge a lot of people to check out this Lewis Ritson. He'll be fighting to win the British title outright. Very exciting, heavy-handed, both hands, and you're not scared of it. To stand and dust it up, like kind of Conor Benn style. But yeah, he kind of sprung up from nowhere. Like he's been with Eddie Hearn and whatever, but I think he's now 13-0. But it was like 2 or 3 fights ago. It was like, where's this guy coming? He's super exciting. I think we could, brought another good UK talent that hopefully, none of these. I'm not saying a definite future world champions in the making, but he's exciting to watch, and that's what you want as a boxing fan. Not everyone's going to be a world champion, but if you can get enjoyment watching certain fighters, even if they don't quite make that elite level, they still go down as, people's favorite, or the public's champion, or you know what I mean. It's good.
Josh Kelly's 100% going to contend for a title some point in his career. I don't know about Ritson. I think he's a little bit not wild, but he's hittable. He is 100% hittable.
Yeah, for sure.
And if you're showing that at the quote unquote domestic level, at the world level, that's really going to affect you, because those guys hit harder than the domestic level guys. They're better, they're better boxers. They're going to hit you more often. Like, they're going to figure out more often if you're that sort of guy. But Ritson's a fun guy. Like, I think he's a better version of a Sam Eggington, like just an exciting guy that's fun to watch. Gonna brawl, gonna throw hands, way more power than a Sam Eggington too. But Kelly, man, and also Chris George. If anyone out there doesn't know who he is, that's okay. You shouldn't know who he is unless you're from Australia. But the guy is good. Like, the guy has some really good combinations. And I'm telling you, watch out for that right uppercut from Chris George. He has knocked out almost all of his opponents with it. And it's a right uppercut, left hook combination every time. I'm going to see if Kelly can, slip that like he's done in the past. It'll be very interesting to see the style matchups, because Chris George is definitely more of the Australian style, more of a Jeff Horn style, so to speak. He's a little more in your face. He throws the elbows up sometimes. Definitely going to be more of a rough, entertaining fight that I know of. I don't know much about Ritson's opponent, I'll be honest.
I'm thinking this Chris George will play into the hands of Kelly, and someone who's not on their bike trying to get away, because I think the last few fights, Kelly's not found it difficult, but he's almost found it, like, I don't know, too easy. But the guys are running. It just found it a little difficult to get his shots off with the guy backpedaling and kind of running away from it. But a guy that maybe is going to try and stand there with him, I think that will, actually draw Kelly into a fight. And I think the skills will sort of highlight how good he is even more with someone actually coming, as a challenge. This guy's a champion. He's the Commonwealth champion, and Kelly's going to try and be taking it off him. Kelly's going to be, I'm sure, the overwhelming favourite, and more than likely definitely take this title. And, onwards and upwards, and be really interesting to see what's next, because Adam Booth and Eddie Hearn, I think they see him kind of fast-tracked.
Mm-hmm. I think this could be a tougher fight for Kelly than probably his entire career so far. Like, he's sort of skated by in his career. Like, Kelly's been very lucky that he is so talented, and the guys he's fought have been where they're at. Chris George a little more, I think, younger in his prime. He's gonna be in his face. Like, he's a live dog in this fight, I would say. I definitely think Kelly should win, and I think he's going to show that he's a level above. But I think the first few rounds, he's going to get caught with some shots, and you're going to see Kelly have to adjust, and I think that's going to be interesting to see. But I saw somebody in the chat saying like, "Oh, Kelly's overhyped. He's only fought bums." Man, he fought Carlos Molina. Get the fuck out of here. Like, you don't know shit about boxing if you think that. Come on, fam.
Are you off your tits? Have you been smoking something?
Yeah, they probably have, Eddie. I'm sorry.
I wonder where that person's from that wrote that. I just wonder.
It was a Brit. It was Brit MK too. He's just an Eddie hater, probably. He's probably a Frank Warren fan or a Tyson Fury fan.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I just get people that, I don't know, just want to knock people for the sake of it. I don't know. It just seems.
What else do we got, Rob? What else do we got?
We have got. Patreon. Did you want to touch on David Haye? You brought it up at the start with his little.
Yeah. You addressed it really fast. I have to go to something really fast.
Okay. Well, yeah. Obviously, David Haye, after the build up to the Tony Bellew fight, said, "If I can't beat you convincingly, if I lose or if I can't even do it convincingly, I'll step down." And there was a little delay. Yeah, he's finally stepped down. Obviously, been a great servant in the past. Cruiserweight champion, heavyweight champion. He was the UK superstar for a good while, and he's done great things for UK boxing. Kind of maybe put us on the map a little at some point along the line, and just happy retirement. Rest that body that seems to just let you down at crucial points, and big guys like that, I guess it's hard to heal and come back from certain injuries and operations, and it's the right time. It was the right time, and good luck to him.
I definitely agree. It was the right time. David Haye, was getting hurt and looked old against Tony Bellew. God knows what he was going to look like against other guys at the top of the heavyweight division that were natural heavyweights. But like you said, David Haye was the guy for a period of time, especially out of the UK. It was in the mid 2000s, heading into this era. It was him and Hatton basically. My age of growing up in the sport, the UK had Ricky Hatton and David Haye, and that was not necessarily it, but those were the guys. They carried that market for over a decade probably, and became transcendental stars in the process, I would say. So shout out to both of them, because that era is done now. That era of UK boxing, I would say, is officially over. So we're gonna have Ricky Burns probably retire. We're gonna get that age is pretty much done now, so to speak. So just salute to all of them. David Haye, for whatever you want to say about him as a fighter or injury prone, whatever. The guy was a star. The guy was an amazing cruiserweight, and beat up a lot of good guys in the process, and gave Klitschko his best win. Let's be honest. So shout out to David Haye. Hope he enjoys retirement, enjoys the promoting game with Haymaker Promotions, etc. I think he's going to do pretty well in that job. He's always seemed like a natural promoter. But yes, let's move on to the Patreon questions.
Okay.
Mr. Robbie Hearn, do you have him up, or you want me to get him?
Probably quicker if you get him.
Oh, of course, Mr. Lazy Ass over here.
All right, maybe I'll beat you.
I thought you were the producer. What happened?
What is it with Rob and Matt? Where's Ron?
Where's Ron?
No, I've got him.
Of course. Right as I get them, you get them.
All right,
go for it.
I'll just wait. Yeah. Where we got Jose
top.
Perez. Instead of comparing Crawford Horn win with Spence and Chris Algieri, compare it to Spence versus Brook. Could you see Crawford? Hang on, this. Could you see Crawford manhandling Brook in the way he did Horn?
Yes. Sorry. I'm a Crawford stan, and if you don't know what that term stan means,
I totally agree. To be honest with you,
yeah, I think Kell Brook is at that point in time was one of the top 5 welterweights in the world, obviously, but I think Crawford's just too much, man. Crawford would have gave Brook angles that I think he was just not used to. Brook struggled with the straightforward minimalist in Spence. The fucking surgeon that is Crawford, I think, would have just diced him up. And I don't think necessarily a stoppage, because I think Brook is a tough motherfucker. We know that. He can take a shot, But I can see a late fight stoppage or a very definitive decision for Crawford in that fight. Crawford's too good, man.
Yeah, I think the minimum Crawford would decision Kell Brook. Minimum if he didn't stop it or but Brook, since taking the Triple G in the Spence and the fight being stopped with a broken eye, and then taking a knee in the Spence fight, I don't know, he's kind of drawn a lot of detractors and stuff like that. You get certain people saying that no fighter quits and things. I just think, see if you go to work tomorrow with your broken eye socket, or see if you carry on getting punched in the face after you. I don't know, but that's by the by. But Crawford, I see as being, super special, and I would think Crawford would have the better of Kell Brook in a matchup. But Yeah, I just think Crawford's going to be super special. So let's get off the American names.
Very quickly, do we mention Tom Davies in the super chat? We didn't.
Tom Davies? No, I didn't see that. No.
He said, keep up the good work, lads. I'm assuming he's from the UK with the word lads. So shout out to you, Tom.
Thanks very much, Tom.
But yeah, next question. And again, all of this is public. So if you want to guarantee your topic or question gets answered by us, gets discussed by us, go to patreon.com/Thaboxingvoice. You can find it right there near the top. Can't miss it.
As it's in the Patreon thing, kind of have to read them because we did say, but Imran Said replied to Jose Perez's question saying, I'd put a bet on Crawford to break both of Brook's eyes.
Damn.
Yeah.
Poor Kell Brook.
Anyway, moving swiftly on. Question from Rick: Do we see a Josh Kelly versus Yalusinov Olympic rematch somewhere down the line, or will Eddie keep them apart for the foreseeable future?
I think those two things are completely possible together. Yes, we're going to see that quote unquote rematch down the line. Is it going to happen in the near future? Probably not, depending on what your definition of that is. I think the near future is the next 18 to 24 months. Not happening in that time. You sort of want to get them to their own respective top of the division and then have them fight each other for like unification. That's what you're probably hoping they do. Like one collect the WBO belt, one collect the IBF, and then they unify together, and then that's how you make the most money for that rematch. That's what I would do if I'm Eddie Hearn.
Yeah, and obviously the storyline's always there. It will always be that backstory. Josh Kelly getting all this push. He's the next, big thing or whatever. And yet they've just signed the guy that beat him in the Olympics. So that story is always there. But in the foreseeable future, no. Yalusinov's just made his pro debut. I think the second fight now he's had. And Kelly's obviously not well on his way, but he's obviously being pushed and kind of fast-tracked. He's already got a former world champion on his record. He's going for the Commonwealth title this weekend. And like Matt said, I think they'll kind of reach their respective sort of, not plateau, but when they're more, even though Kelly will have that many more fights on his record probably but when they're at a certain level that, these guys will meet up. But yeah, good question.
And to be honest, they might fast track Yalusinov faster because he is a gold medalist. Like you could theoretically do that. And it's not like he doesn't look ready. Like he looks just as ready as Josh Kelly to start contending for like those top 20, top 30 guys in the division, and he could compete there. So it could be fast tracked in the way that like Yalusinov will be fast tracked to like catch up with Josh Kelly. I definitely think that's going to happen. And because you're necessarily not going to push him as much because he's not an English speaker, he's going to have to gain like hardcore following more than casual following, while Josh Kelly has already captivated casual following, I would say. You can just throw him on undercards frequently and make him catch up pretty fast, I would say, under the radar of most of the casuals. But definitely a fight that I would be hyped to see. That Olympic fight was amazing. It's hard to find. It took me forever to find when I was trying to look for it, maybe a few months ago. It's something to watch if you can find it. Go check it out.
Yeah, definitely. And just on the English thing, I think he's already taken English lessons, like Loma. Loma's obviously really improving and now doing a lot more English speaking interviews. And that's good. I think that wins over, a whole new sort of not demographic, but like a whole new set of fans.
And even if it's simple shit like Big Drama Show, like shit can work, man. Like you just need some good catchy lines, and you can translate to.
I don't take medicals.
I don't take medicals. Yeah, let's move on to the next question. I think that's a great fight. Great question.
Yeah, just unlock again. Sorry, closed out. Rick again put. What's the actual severity of the injury time frame for a return and plans for Billy Joe Saunders as he removes himself from the upcoming Martin Murray fight? As very little news seems to be coming from that besides the Instagram back and forth. Well, while Matt gives his opinion on that, I just want to find Martin Murray because he's already had an opponent step in to keep that June 23rd day, is it? I think.
This is my opinion.
Sometimes I feel discouraged.
I do, Reverend. I do. I don't know. Like nobody knows what the injury is. He had that one IG live video where he said he would fight him at the fucking Terry Flanagan event, right? Like who cares? Like I don't know. Like Billy Joe's gonna come back probably in like 4 months and fight some guy that we sort of vaguely know of, and then maybe try to fight the winner of Canelo Triple G again and bark for that. I don't know, man. Who knows with Billy Joe Saunders? He hasn't given any timetable for this unknown injury that no one knows about that's alleged. Shout out to Billy Joe Saunders, man. Doing Billy Joe Saunders things.
Yeah, very quick. Like I said, 23rd of June, Martin Murray had a replacement fighter, Roberto Garcia, and it's for the WBC silver middleweight title. Yeah, so it's nice for Murray that he's put 2 training camps in and he's actually getting a fight. So I think he put an IG post out or something from One Bad Thing and another door can open or along those lines. So he's still got a fight. But Billy Joe Saunders, I don't know. I've seen different things. Some saying that his team are talking to Triple G. They're talking,
But Triple G Canelo's done. You didn't hear?
Yeah, no, I'm just saying like where it all came from. But it was apparently a hamstring injury. I don't know. I just hope.
I love Billy Joe Saunders. I love Billy Joe Saunders, but the fact that he continues to shoot himself in the foot in his career is one of the most frustrating things ever. The fact that him and Tyson Fury, the dynamic duo of fuck ups that they are, it is so sad the amount of talent they had. They're the Adrian Broners of the UK, but with way more talent, with way more skill, but they continue to shoot themselves in the foot. So I'll be excited when they get a fight together. And when they make the fight, when they have fights. In the meantime, I sort of just ignore their bullshit.
Real Niger chick in the chat.
Shout out to Niger.
Yeah, Niger. We've kind of covered these 2 questions, but I'll just read them out. Thoughts on Brooke Cook for the world title eliminator and Ben versus Peno. Revenge or repeat? Last time these 2 met, Ben was given the decision, but I think Peno was robbed.
I'm just doing that soundbite for the first one, Kell Brook versus Brandon Cook. And for the rematch. Fuck, I don't care about the rematch.
And she really loves the soundbites.
She does love the soundbites, so I do, especially for that.
But yeah, like we touched on it, not the biggest name for Brooke, but world title eliminator, whatever. But and Ben Pono, I told you that. Yeah. Hopefully Ben can do a better job this time. Take it tight, but
when you're fighting King Arthur, man, you gotta be worried. King Arthur's Pendragon, man. Pendragon's a tough fight.
Okay, George John, do you think Amir Khan only accepting the Kell Brook fight at 147 is unreasonable? No. Taking into consideration that Amir Khan is the A side with more options, he is naturally a 140 fighter who started as low as 135 pounds. 150 pounds suits Cal to a T, with him being small, average size 154 pounder. Someone will have a weight advantage. Who should it be?
I think he answered it within his own question, George. Amir Khan's the A side. He can do whatever the fuck he wants. The same reason why Mayweather made Canelo go down to 152 pounds. It's the same concept. Like, it's A-sides can weight bully, to use that term that everyone loves to throw around like it's fucking this hot topic word. Yeah, go for it. Amir Khan can do whatever the fuck he wants. If he wants to fight at 147, fight's got to be at 147. If you're Kell Brook, you can't do anything about that. Sorry. The fight's not going to happen. I think it's one of those fights that, was it like Lennox Lewis, Riddick Bowe? Like, it's just never going to happen. It's one of those fights that's talked about by boxing scholars and fans and experts, 50 years from now, about the fight in the UK that didn't happen. that could generate all this money and they left it on the table due to fucking ego and pride or whatever the fuck they want to say. But Amir Khan can do what he wants. He's the A side. It's the way the boxing game is set up.
Yeah, like I said, I don't see the fight happening. I really don't. This would just never get agreed, I don't think. And to a point, I think they kind of missed the boat and not done it sooner than this. Both guys are a little more advanced in their careers and, in years. So it'd still be big things here if it happened, but I don't know. I just don't see it happening at all. George Rodriguez in the Patreon post. Nice step up for Joshua Buatsi versus Ricky Summers, but who would win, Buatsi or Yard, if the fight was made after their next fights? After their respective bouts, sorry. Fish-eyed Frank, not having any of it. I've got my man JB for the W.
Yeah, Buatsi, he's fucking awesome. That's all about. I know. I'm more casual when it comes to that. I'm sorry.
Who would I pick, Yard or Buatsi? Obviously, Yard's, I think, European champion, a little further on in his career, but I think Buatsi is just ready for a test now. A little step up now with his Ricky Summers. I think it'd be a great fight. Will they get it made? I think an offer was sent and it was declined this time around. Do we see it further down the line? I really hope so, because as long as both guys keep winning, that's another big fight for UK fans to look forward to.
Yard's activity rate in fights concerns me. He's often, I think, gets sucked into throwing single shot haymakers in the hopes of getting a knockout, especially when he feels like he can hurt his opponent. He gets sucked into that so quickly. Buatsi's a little more traditional and I should say more fundamental. He sticks to a game plan. His boxing skill is crisp. It just looks like it's high level to me. Yard to me looks more like a bruiser, if that makes sense, but that's how I think.
Yeah, I think Buatsi, I think like you say, maybe just a little, not basic, but I sort of said this about Spence earlier in the show when I called in on the show, but it works for these guys, it's and I think he's very accurate. And again, if a guy's going to come to try and fight with Buatsi again, I think that's what a lot of our prospects needs, is to see them really shine, is a guy willing to stand there and fight and then really see what they've got. But yeah, it'd be a great fight if we see it. George Rodriguez, who's the perfect next step for Josh Kelly, all being well Saturday? Maybe Theo Payne or Granados?
Granados is fighting Javier Fortuna this weekend.
Yeah, but that would work after their fights. Obviously, that could be the next fight for Kelly and Granados down the line.
That's a tough matchup for the next fight after this weekend. I don't know if that's the next fight for him. That's a tough one, especially Granados. Javier Fortuna is maybe a little bit easier, but even then, like those are guys that play spoiler. Like those are guys that are not necessarily the best guys, but like look what they've done to Robert Easter Jr. or Adrian Broner, respectively. They made those guys look human and made them look really bad. Imagine a guy that is 7-0 as a prospect coming and facing those guys with that experience. It's just concerning from a promoting standpoint, from a managerial standpoint. If I'm in that camp, do I throw him in with that fight now, or do I wait for another 3 fights? I might wait for another 3 fights.
What about Theophane?
Theophane's probably more realistic. I can get behind that.
That was definitely. I think that was attempted to try and get that for one of the cards Kelly was on, quite a big card. I think that name's always been bandied around with Kelly.
I think you can keep it more domestic before you head into like world level after this fight. Like you might see like a Bradley Skeet matchup. Like I could envision that. Maybe you pull like, it's not necessarily domestic because I think he's South African, but like Chris Van Heerden, maybe you throw him out of nowhere. I can see more of that realistically. Maybe a David Avanesian. He has so many common opponents. That would make sense. But you're looking at more on that level, in my opinion. Maybe along the line of Carlos Molina, maybe Antonio DeMarco. He just picked up a win against Eddie Ramirez in like the first round knockout. Maybe you throw an Antonio DeMarco back in there. I think somebody more on that level before a Granados, who's more in his prime still, can still really rough a guy like Kelly up. But I mean, Kelly's in the thick of it now after this. Like, he needs to start fighting guys that we know, I think. I think all the guys I mentioned are guys that we know as boxing fans, whether in the U.S. or in the U.K. We all know these guys, so that's where he's going to have to be.
Yeah, like I said earlier, Adam, I keep saying that now, but Adam Booth, I think, and Eddie Hearn are all on board, really trying to push Kelly pretty quickly. Adam Booth especially has been, why not? He's good enough. Let's do it. He really has huge faith in Josh Kelly and his skills. So I like the Theophane fight. So maybe, like I say, that has been bandied around quite a lot from almost like 3-0 when Kelly was like 2 or 3-0. So yeah, we'll see what goes on after the fights. And I think Eddie's very keen to have him on, to throw him on some cards, depending when Joshua Wilder falls. I'd imagine we'd see Josh Kelly on that card. Yeah, we'll wait and see on that one. George Rodriguez again. Thanks for all these questions. Thoughts on Nathan Gorman? Great win versus Sean Turner. Would you like to see him in the likes of a Robert Helenius, etc.? Warren won't be pairing him up him and Dubois up anytime soon.
I thought Gorman was a cruiserweight? Was I wrong? Was he a heavyweight?
Heavyweight, yeah.
He looks small.
He was on the Fury card. Did you
I remember seeing it. I thought he was a cruiserweight though.
He's not the biggest heavyweight, but
I'm not that impressed. Helenius fight makes sense. I would be okay with that. Would I watch it? Probably not. Being completely honest, as a boxing fan, yeah, I mean, especially like once you get past like the top 10, 15 in the heavyweight division, these guys aren't that great in terms of athletes. So it's hard to watch from an athletic standpoint.
I was vaguely impressed with him. I think he's got a little bit of work to do, but yeah, there's always a lot of talk with Gorman and Dubois. But like I say, they're on the same promotional side, and Dubois is kind of, I think Warren's hoping that he's going to be his version of the Joshua kind of golden goose or whatever. But I mean, Gorman, I'm sort of impressed. Do good things with Ricky Hatton as his trainer. But Helenius fight, yeah, like Matt said, I mean, some of these fights, I sort of watch them, but they just don't get your heart,
Of course not.
You're not hyped and pumped to, I've really got to tune in for this. But, obviously, as the careers pan out, these fights mean something. But at the time when they're happening, you feel like they kind of they don't, if you know what I mean. But when you look back,
put it this way, if you're a prospect that we care about, I think we give a shit about these tune-ups. We like these tune-ups. If you're a Nathan Gorman, I mean, do people really care? I mean, he's not, like you said, like he's not a Dubois. Like a Dubois tune-up fight gets hype in the UK, I'm assuming. A Nathan Gorman fight does not. There's a reason for that. One is more skilled than the other, probably. Like that is usually what it comes down to.
Yeah, I mean, you say that. People might argue that skill-wise, Gorman's ahead of Dubois, but Dubois is just knocking people out like cold, So
in the heavyweight division, that is a skill. Like that is a skill that you need, I would say, especially. Like if you don't have power, you need to be a Tyson Fury or a Haye Fury. You need to be on your toes, be a good boxer, and that is not a Nathan Gorman. Nathan Gorman's very rudimentary, basic. You can find that sort of you can find that sort of guy at like a regional show here in the U.S., in the Midwest. Like you could easily do that, I would say. Find some farmer in Iowa that can throw hands and give him some boxing gloves, and he looks just like fucking Nathan Gorman. Like, come on, fam.
I'd just like to apologize that there's a little shade of Thursday Matt appearing on Wednesday.
I'm sorry, but Nathan Gorman, really? We're talking about Nathan Gorman.
I think you're doing him a little disservice, but it's okay. It's okay.
Joe Joyce eviscerates Nathan Gorman. Joe Joyce rips out his spine like Predator. Okay, like I'm guarantee you.
He went to the Predator state. Okay, and last of all on the Patreon questions, and it's a good one to end on because we've just gone over the hour there, Matt.
Very quickly, hold on. Curtis Cooper in the chat saying Travis Kaufman beats Nathan Gorman. Fucking absolutely, Curtis. Yes. Let's get
Who the fuck is Travis?
Charles Martin might beat Nathan Gorman.
Oh, King Charles, get out of here! Come on.
He walks the earth like a god.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Maybe he does beat Gorman.
Come on.
Last question it's quite a good one to finish on. This is where we would want Nez to be part of the show just very quickly and then cut him off. Is from Incitify Ryan has put, where is the TBV party being held when you guys come over for the AJ show? You need to throw a big party for all your UK fans.
I'll answer very shortly. Wherever Rob figures it out, because that is Rob's job.
And also wherever the budget allows.
That's another factor. Absolutely.
Incitify Ryan, how big is your house? Is it a good sized garden? Oh, maybe not in November, right? We don't want to be out in the rain.
Oh, fuck no.
But for sure, the very second we get an announcement of a date, a venue, trust me, everybody, I am going to be working around the clock to secure a venue for a live TBV show, some kind of party. Obviously, be great to get into the fight, but if we can do something and the whole American side of TBV can get on a plane and fly across, it's going to be great.
I can't wait. I can't wait for Ness to go get all hyped for the UK trip, right? Get there in October and it rains every fucking day.
Oh, he's going to be so miserable.
He's going to be so miserable. You know he's going to hate on the trip.
Everyone told me the fucking UK, it always rains. I fucking hate the rain.
Yo.
I'll go to the beach. There's not many beaches here.
And you don't want to go to those beaches.
Try and go to the sandy ones, not the stony ones.
Oh my God. I can't wait for that. That'll be great.
It really would. But I think we're there then, Matt. Another show.
Another day. Another $1. Hit that super chat, help support the show. Remember, all super chats on this show, all donations to the show, even if you're let's say, donate on PayPal to the Boxing Voice and the Boxing Voice at yahoo.com. Write in the note for the UK hour, and all those donations go towards the equipment for this show so we can get callers on this show. Because we do want this to be, what's the term? Interactive. With you. That's why we include the Patreon questions that are absolutely free. If you're not a Patreon member, you can go write a question on that post, absolutely free. We wanted to include at least that part in it until we get callers. Make sure you hit that like button, hit subscribe button, share the show. I'm Matt the Hipster Hunter. You can find me at Matt Hunter TBV on all platforms. Mixed Combat Radio on YouTube, iTunes, etc. Robbie Hearn.
Yeah, just thanks again, everybody in the chat, showing support. I keep still getting messages saying, I can't wait for the UK hour. And, it's been really great trying to bring, news from this side of things. I don't get many chances to jump in on the flagship shows to usually Matt and Nez are arguing and getting catty. But
Thursday Matt's a bitch.
Yeah, Thursday Matt and Everyday Nez is
Everyday Nez.
No, it's all good, but so the support's been great, so thanks very much for that. But yeah, you can follow me at UKRobTBV, Instagram and Twitter. So like Matt said, hit the thumbs up, share the show, consider helping everybody out on the show here. We'd love to hear other people's opinions and have the callers. But yeah, thanks again for tuning in.
Peace.
Later.
Thank you, Nigel, in the super chat. I see you. Last minute, Nigel. I see you. Saying well done, guys, with the clap emoji. Thank you, Nigel. Always appreciated. Be back obviously tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern. I know Ness want to come back and do a Canelo show today. CEO status over here. I'm telling him now we're pushing it back tomorrow for the flagship, making you guys wait. That 24 hours, so 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, midnight in the UK. Tomorrow, flagship show. Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern for Sydney 8 Count exclusively on Patreon. Sunday, again with that flagship, and of course Monday for Untitled, and of course every Wednesday, 10 p.m. Eastern. Not 10 p.m. Eastern. Whoa, 10 p.m. UK time, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific for the UK hour. Every Wednesday. Peace.